again, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with a continuation of the virus poncho tutorial. Yes, and we are on round 6. Today we're going to be doing a full repeat of the pattern so that you guys can continue on your merry stitching way and make your project as big as you want it to be. All right, so first things first, going to start off with a chaining up of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Skipping this first space, going into the next one with a single crochet. And then, so we have one big loop. We need 3 small loops. So chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip one of these spaces, going into the next with a single. Chain 4. Skip a space, going into the next with a single. Chain 4. Skip a space, going into the next with a single. So we have, to begin with, one of our large ones. The other large one that will be right here will get on the return. Okay, so 1 big, 3 small. Well, we need another big one. So chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So bridging this gap here, we're going to skip 1, 2, and 3 of those spaces into the 4th space, single crochet. Alrighty, and then 3 small loops. 1, 2, 3, 4 chains. Skip a space, single in the next. Chain 4. Skip a space, going to the next with a single. Chain 4. Skip a space, going into the next with a single. All right, bridging the gap once again with a chain 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Skipping those 3 spaces, going into the 4th with a single. Chain 4. Skip a space, going to the next with a single. Chain 4. Skip a space, into the next with a single. Chain 4. Skip and single. Okay, bridge the gap once again. Yeah, there's a lot of repetition going on around here, isn't there? All right, so to bridge the gap again, chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So skip those 3, going into the 4th with a single. Chain 4, because actually, well, right now we need 3 chain 4 spaces, and then we're going to do our 2 chain 7 spaces back to back because we are at, the point here. So chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip a space, single in the next. Chain 4. Skip a space, into the next with a single. One more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip a space, single in the next. There we go. So we have that bridge. We've got 3 small ones. So now we need 2 chain 7 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Skip a space, single in the next. Chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Skip a space, single in the next. All right, back to the chain 4 spaces. We need 3 of those, so 1, 2, 3, 4, skip and single. 1, 2, 3, 4, skip and single. 1, 2, 3, 4, skip and single. Okay, bridge the gap once again. Chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Skip those 3 spaces going into that 4th with your single. Chain 4. Skip and single. Chain 4. Skip and single. Chain 4. Skip and single. Okay, we are getting there. All right, so from here, we need to bridge the gap again with another chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. Skip 3 spaces into that 4th with a single. Chain 4. Skip a space, single in the next. Chain 4. Skip a space, single in the next. Chain 4. Skip a space, single in the next. And we need to bridge the gap once again. So let's get to that. Chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Skipping 3 spaces into the 4th with a single. And my yarn loves to get tangled on me. Okay. Chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip and single. Chain 4. Skip and single. Chain 4. Skip and single. And then to finish up round 6, going to do a chaining of 7 so that we have our symmetry going on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then into this space here, because we're going to be skipping the space into the next space, going to slip stitch, and then slip stitch into this chain 7 right there. Alrighty, and that is the end of round 6. Now, if you want to change colors, manually from the last repeat that we did to this repeat, this would be the rounds that you would use, where you would use a fresh color of yarn. At least that's my personal opinion. And then you would keep going. Personally, I like yarns that do the work for me. Don't you? So at any rate, let's proceed on to round 7. Alrighty, round 7. Going to start by chaining up 3. And that's going to count as our first double. We need 9 more in our chain 7 space for a total of 10. And yeah, I'm going to say it again. Double counting never killed anyone. I strongly suggest doing it because it helps. All right, so I've got 5 and 3. I need 2 more. Because then for rounds 8 and 9, it's easy street. So I've got my 5 and my 5. Okay. So from here, after doing your 10 doubles, single crochet into the chain 4 space, chain 4, single in the next space, chain 4, single into the next space, and then into the chain 7 space, 10 double crochets. So we're creating new arches with every full repeat. So I've already got my 5, if I'm not mistaken. And also, of course, as always, if I'm going too fast for you, I do apologize. I do try to be thorough, but there will be, as always, timestamps in the description box down below if you want to review or go over something again. That's totally fine. So I've got my 5, and yeah, I went way over. Get busy talking and kibitzing, and that's what happens, right? Okay, so I've got my 5, and I've got my 5. Awesome. All right. Single crochet into the chain 4 space, chain 4, single in the next space, chain 4, single in the next space, and we reached another chain 7 space. So that's going to be 10 doubles into this space. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and should be 10. Okay, so I've got my 5 and my 5. Perfect. Single into the next space, chain 4, single in the next space, chain 4, single into the next space, and we have another chain 7 space. So, going to be 10 doubles. I just need to pull out a bit more yarn because that's how I roll. All right, so 10 doubles into the chain 7. Okay, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and should be 10. Got my 5 and my 5. Good. Okay, single into the next. Chain 4. Single in the next. Chain 4. Single in the next. There we go. And we have reached the 2 chain 7 spaces. So we need 10 doubles and 10 doubles. So let's get to it. So that's 3 already. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yes? No? Yes? 5 and 5. Good. Okay. Then into this next chain 7 space, 10 doubles. There we go. So I've already got 2. And 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9, and should be 10. So I've got my 5 and my 5. Awesome. Okay. So halfway done with this round. Almost there, really. Okay, so from here, single into the chain space, chain 4, single into the next chain space, chain 4, single in the next space, and 10 doubles into the chain 7 space. And really the only difference between the repeat that we're currently doing and future repeats is that you'll have more of these, quite frankly. All right, so I've got 6, 7, 8, 9, and should be 10. Okay, and there we go. All right, so I got my 5 and my 5. Awesome. Okay, scooting my work across and grabbing more yarn. There we go. Single into the chain space, chain 4, single in the next space, chain 4, single in the next, and 10 doubles into the chain 7 space. Okay, so this should be 5 already. Yes. Okay, I think we got it. All right, so I've got my 5 and my 5. Good. Single into the next space, chain 4, single in the next space, chain 4, single in the next, and 10 doubles into the chain 7 space. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and okay, so I've got my 5 and 5. Single into the next space, chain 4. Single in the next space, chain 4. Single into the next space, and then last but not least, into this last chain 7 space, 10 doubles, and then we can do a slip stitch join. Okay, I got 6 already, getting there. All right, so I've got my 5 and my 5. Awesome. Okay. And then to finish this, just slip stitch into the top third chain from the bottom. And there you go. That is the end of round 7. Alrighty. All right, so round 8 is going to be comparatively easier because we don't have to worry about counting so much. We did that in the last round. So start off by chaining up 3. And that, of course, counts as our first double crochet, and then double crochet into each double across for a total of 10. And then we will bridge gaps as needs be. All right, so I've already got 4. And I do love how this yarn is changing in its color. I don't know what it is. It just never ceases to amaze me how beautiful some yarns do their magic. Alrighty. And if we did everything correctly, we should have 10 at this point. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Awesome. That's why counting is important. All right. Now, do not mistake this single crochet as a double crochet. No, that's attached to the chain. Always be careful of that. So going from here directly into the chain space with a single crochet, chain 4, single into the next space, and double into each of these 10. And again, careful not to go into that single, go into the double. And forgive me for being repetitive about not mistaking the single, but I wouldn't say it if I haven't done it myself. So it's not a bad reminder for myself as well. Okay, so almost done with this set of 10. Goes by pretty quick in the grand scheme. 2, 4, 6, good. And then single into the chain space, chain 4, single into the chain space, and double across these 10, skipping that single, going into that double. And I messed that up already. There we go. And actually, recently, was right after doing the virus Mobius wrap tutorial that I had done. I had gotten a question. It was a comment asking me, how would I go about doing the virus stitch as a poncho? And, I tried to give a reasonable explanation as to how I would go about doing it. And then I figured, you know what? Let me just do it. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, perfect. Single crochet into the next chain space, chain 4, single into the next chain space, and then 10 doubles across this bunch. Admittedly, I do get a lot of suggestions and requests for certain projects. I know, and unfortunately, there are not enough hours in the day. But sometimes when an idea intrigues me, I say, you know what? Yeah, we could do that. Now, also, admittedly, there are a number of other tutorials out there on how to do this same sort of project, but I did not look at any of them. I saw the thumbnails, but 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Single into the next space, chain 4, single into the next space, and then 10 doubles across. Actually, 20, because we're already at the end here. Cool. So it's just double crochet into each for a total of 20. Yeah, so I know that there are other tutorials that do this project, but I like to figure out things on my own if possible. Good chance that they have some sort of different neckline or chain count or what have you. And great, variety is the spice of life. I like a good challenge sometimes, though. And based on me already being familiar with the virus stitch and how to manipulate it in different ways, I figured, yeah, I could do this. It was just the tricky part really was getting the neckline to lay flat. That was my biggest challenge. Honestly, I think it was perhaps easier dealing with the virus chevron that I came out with a while back. Oh, the irony. Okay. So, let's see. Got 2, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Oh, that's so awesome. All right, so we are halfway through round 8. Well, we shall continue on. All right, so from here, single crochet into the chain space, chain 4, single into the next space, 10 doubles across, skip the single, go into the double, And actually, as I'm doing this right now, a thought just occurred to me. Adding a hood in the virus stitch, which actually, you know what? That would not be impossible. No. Would I do it though? I don't think I would, because quite frankly, it's so full of holes that it would be, I would think, pretty ineffectual for the sake of having a hood. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Single crochet in the next space, chain 4, single in the next space, and then 10 across. Yeah, you could do it, especially with the neckline that we have, but I don't think it would work out in any sort of practical sense. In that case, you would, instead of going in rounds, you would go back and forth in rows. And how I would do it, I would create sort of a rectangular flap and seam it down the center. That's probably how I would go about doing it, but I don't know, it just doesn't seem like this would be necessary on this particular piece. So we've got our 5 and our 5. Awesome. Single in the chain space, chain 4. Single in the chain space, and then 10 doubles across. But yeah, that is how my addled brain tends to work. I start working on something and then I start thinking, oh, wait a minute, can we tweak that? Can we make an addition? Can we fiddle with that a little and add something, blah, 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 and there you go. That's why I don't sleep. Not well, anyway. The lights go out, my head hits the pillow, and the ideas start coming. Not sleep, no, the ideas. That's how my brain works. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Perfect. And we are almost to the end. All right. Single in the chain space. Chain 4. Single in the chain space. And then our last 10 doubles across. Okie dokie. And then we've only got one more round for the full repeat. Just one more. And then I have every bit of confidence that you can go from there and keep following the repeat to make your piece as big as you want it to be. All right, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Awesome. All right, so from here, slip stitch into the top of that third chain from the bottom of your first double. And there you go. And that is the end of round 8. Last but certainly not least, round 9. So I'm going to start off by chaining up 4, and that's going to be a double crochet and a chain 1 space. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Double into the next. Chain 1, double into the next, and so forth until you have 10 doubles separated by chain 1 spaces. And then we will bridge the gaps when we come to them. And that's really all there is to it for this round. And even though that's all there is to it, I'm going to do it all with you anyway, because I like spending time with you and being thorough and tell the odd anecdote or two from time to time. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Well, I guess with me it's always an odd anecdote, right? So from here, after doing your 10 doubles separated by chain 1 spaces, chain 1, skip over this chain 4 space, and go into the next double on the other side. Not the single, going into the double. There we go. And chain 1, double into the next. Chain 1, double into the next, and so forth. And that's really all there is to it for this round. But I like hanging out with you guys. Can't stress that enough. You guys are my people. Alrighty. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this entire round with the yarn that I currently have, because there was a knot in my skein, so I had to cut it out, and so I'm going to have to start a new strand, but that is not a problem. So I did my 10 separated by the chain spaces, chain 1, skipping over this chain 4 space, going into that next double with a double, and chain 1, and double. Fortunately, the knot in the skein, the color continued on perfectly, so that will not be an issue. Sometimes it can be when working with a yarn that changes color over time. I got lucky, I will say that. You know, if it went from very, very light to very, very dark, I'd be like, that's not nice. But it happens. Fortunately, it does not happen very often. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Good. Okay, I already have my chain 1 in place. Skip the chain 4 space, going into the next double with a double, and chain 1, and double, and chain 1, and double. Now, like I said in part 1 of this tutorial, I have not made this project from start to finish before, so I don't know exactly how many skeins it's going to take for me to finish this. At the time that I'm saying this, I don't know how many. However, when I finish it, I will do my best to put it in the description box of the video. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. My guess, offhand, based on the rate that I'm currently going, is probably 2 to 3 of these skeins. That's my offhand guess. So chain 1, and double into that next double, chain 1, and double, and we are at the 20 spot. So it's going to be 20 doubles separated by chain 1 spaces. So for me and my particular size, I would say probably about 2 skeins. Some may need more, some may need less. Totally varies. Now, if you're doing a smaller size with a smaller neckline, you are going to have to change the initial stitch count and probably eliminate a grouping of 3 small, a grouping of these, the 3 small ones and one of the large eyelets if you want to make it smaller. Generally, I don't do patterns for child sizes of items because I don't have any way of, well, I can't model it, of course. Generally, I only do things that are of an adult size, but I mean, I'm sure that you can fiddle and finagle with the stitch count just as I've done if you need a smaller neckline. But I find that this one works out rather well for an adult size. Okay, oh, I reached the end. This is the end. My only friend, the end. Okay, so I'm going to have to start in on a new strand. That's not a big deal. Let's go grab it and continue on our way. All right, so actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo that chain and this last double because I want to have enough of a tail for sewing in later. So chain 1 and going to start the double but not finish it. I'm going to grab my new yarn and finish up the double with the new yarn. There we go. And then I've got my 2 tails. And then chain 1 and double into the next stitch. And so forth. And then later I can knot those 2 together a couple times and then sew in the ends in the stitches below. Not a big deal. But I'm not going to do that on camera. And I've got a little bit of yarn barf here. There we go. Okay, so we should be at the 20. So let me see here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Perfect. Okay. Moving right along. Footloose and fancy free. Okay. Chain 1. Skip the chain 4, going into the next double with a double. Chain 1. Double in the next, and so forth for this grouping of 10. There we go. Couple more, and then we get to bridge the gap again. There. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Chain 1. Skipping over the chain 4. Double into that first double. And chain 1. And double across. Okay. Have to keep scooting my work around. Get my tails out of the way there. And there we go. This should be the 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Perfect. Okay, just 2 more groupings of 10. We're flying by, aren't we? All right. So, chain 1, skipping over the chain 4, going into the next double with a double, and chain 1, and double, and chain 1 across. Almost there. Alrighty. Got to bridge the gap. Chain 1. Going over this chain 4. Skip that and going into that first double crochet with a double. Chain 1 and double across. Okie dokie. And 2 more. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10. Awesome. All right, got just finish up with a chain 1 and a slip stitch into the top 3rd chain of your first double. And there you go. That is the end of round 9. Yeah, there you go. All right, so I'm pooped. Alrighty, my dears, so that concludes today's tutorial for the virus poncho. Like I said, all you need to do is repeat rounds 6, 7, 8, 9 over and over and over again until your piece is as big as you want it to be. And it will continue to grow because the next round that you do after this, you would be having your your 7 chain up here and then another 7 chain over here, which is ultimately going to create more arches. And it just keeps going and going and going for as long as you want. Now, the only thing that I would suggest, though, is ending on a round 9 because it gives this really nice lacy edge to it. And that's all there is to it, quite frankly. I hope you liked this, and if you did, please give a little thumbs up button down below because you know that I appreciate your appreciation. Yes, check out the timestamps in the description box, as well as details about roughly how much yarn that I used. If you want to know that, that's totally cool. And of course, also, stay tuned for more because I try to post often, whether it's crocheting or knitting, audiobook narration, origami, cooking, what have you. And of course, my other YouTube channel, Fiber Spider Games, where I do video game playthrough and commentary. Would love to see you there as well. And until next time, You know what to do, right? I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay stitching, and please stay safe. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now, everybody, and have a great day.